Imagine waking up in a room that's just a bit too bright. You know, that sterile fluorescent white light that seems to hum right behind your eyes, and the first thing you feel is this bone deep cold. It's not just the chill of an air conditioner, it's that paralyzing metallic cold of a table against your bare back that makes your skin crawl instantly. You try to move your hand, but it feels like it belongs to someone else, heavy and leaden, like your veins were filled with liquid solder, and there's this weird rhythmic thumping in your head, like you're trapped deep underwater. And right then, just as you're trying to piece together how you even got here, this terrifying realization hits you. Your life has just become a line item on a spreadsheet. Hey, I'm Thomas, or just Tom to my friends, and today we're diving into a topic that honestly makes my blood run cold, but we have to talk about it because it's a reality hiding right in the shadows of our modern world. You see, most people think the black market for organs is some 1990s urban legend, like the guy in the bathtub full of ice, but the truth is way more calculated. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry that operates with the cold efficiency of a Fortune 500 company, where the human body is basically stripped for parts like an old sedan at a chop shop. It's actually wild, but most victims don't end up in this nightmare because they were snatched off a dark street, though that definitely happens. Usually it's desperation or a really polished lie that opens the door. Like, you might think you're too smart for it, but when you're offered a high-paying job overseas or a medical miracle for a family member, your brain starts painting these beautiful pictures because you want to believe. And suddenly, you're on a plane, heading to a country you've never seen, thinking this is your big break. But instead, you end up in the basement of a private clinic where your passport is already a pile of ash, and the people in masks aren't looking at you as a person, but as a collection of high-value assets. Look, I'm Tommy, and I'm not here to just scare you for clicks. I want us to figure out together how this machine works so you never become a gear in it. It's like pushing a massive boulder up a steep hill. You feel every step and every breath is heavy, but you need to know the path so you don't let it crush you. Let's talk about the math of this horror, even though calling it math feels a bit wrong. Do you have any idea what a kidney goes for on the black market? It's usually around 80 grand, sometimes more depending on how urgent the buyer is or how healthy the donor looks. But here is the thing that really gets me. The person actually losing the organ usually only sees maybe $3,000 or $5,000 at best, if they even survive the procedure, and aren't just dumped in a field somewhere. All that massive profit just disappears into the pockets of the fixers, the fake doctors, and the logistics guys. It's literally a business built on blood. And you might think, Tom, that's happening somewhere far away, in a third world country. But the organ trade doesn't care about borders. It crawls through the internet, through social media ads, and through medical tourism packages. Your safety isn't the walls of your house. It's what you know. By the way, before we get too deep into this dark forest, I'd really appreciate it if you could join our community by subscribing and hitting that like button. We're trying to build a space here for people who want to see the world clearly and support each other in finding the truth. It really matters to me, knowing this content is actually helping someone stay a bit sharper. Back to our scenario. Imagine you're lying on that table and a guy in a white coat walks in. He sounds calm, maybe even has a soft smile, telling you everything is going to be fine and it's just a minor adjustment. But your psychology is screaming at you. Our brains have this weird way of denying the worst case scenario until the very last second. It's a defense mechanism, right? We want to believe it's a mistake, that someone will walk in and say, "Oops, wrong patient." But in the world of the black market, there are no mistakes, only calculations. The psychology of the victim is what these predators play on best. They use your fear, your isolation, and the fact that you've been cut off from the world. When you're isolated, you're vulnerable. It's like being in the middle of the ocean on a tiny raft without oars. You just drift wherever the current takes you, and in this case, the current is freezing. There's some interesting research showing how these networks actually operate. They hunt for donors among refugees, people without citizenship, or those who won't be missed. It's this invisible layer of society that gets targeted. And it's heartbreaking because it shows how indifferent the world can be until it's too late. Statistics suggest thousands of people vanish into this system every year. These aren't just numbers in a report. These are real lives, people with dreams and families and dinner plans. I've seen so many stories, and they all start with hope and end in silence. But you know what gives me hope? The fact that we are talking about it right now. The more people who understand these recruitment tactics, the less room these predators have to hide. It's like shining a high-powered flashlight into a dark basement. The roaches can't stand the light. Let's look at the sale process for a second. It's not just a surgery. It's a massive logistical chain. You need a buyer willing to drop hundreds of thousands of dollars for a chance to live a few more years. Then you need the donor match. Then the transport. An organ only stays viable for a few hours outside the body, so everything has to run like clockwork. This is where the corrupt officials and private jets come in. It's a parallel state with its own rules. And in the middle of it all is you, a human being who just wanted a better life. When we look at these mathematical demonstrations of how the price of your life jumps from the moment they take the organ to the moment it's transplanted, it looks like a twisted auction. Except the stakes aren't a piece of art. It's your ability to breathe or walk or see your kids grow up. I sometimes wonder what the buyer is thinking. Do they know the cost of that heart or that kidney? Most of them probably tell themselves a lie. They say, I just paid for a private procedure. They build these mental walls so they don't have to face the guilt. But we know the truth. It's not a procedure. It's a theft. And this is where we get to the most important part, how to never be a part of this story. First off, never. And I mean never. Take a medical offer that sounds too good to be true. No legitimate clinic is going to ask you to fly to a different country for cash under-the-table donations. That's a massive red flag. Any attempt to take your passport or limit your movement under the guise of medical prep is your cue to run. Run as fast as you can. I remember hearing about a guy, let's call him Mark. He was in deep debt, like he'd lost a lot of money and was desperate, and someone offered him an easy out. They told him, you've got 2 kidneys, people live to be 100 with just one, and this clears all your problems in one day. He almost did it. The only thing that saved him was overhearing a conversation between the agents talking about where they were going to leave him after the surgery. They weren't planning on recovery or follow-up care. They were just going to use him up and throw him away. It's like that boulder I mentioned. Mark dropped it just in time, but that weight stayed with him. He realized that no amount of money, not even $100,000, is worth your physical integrity. But let's shift the energy a bit, because I don't want you leaving this feeling panicked. We're here to feel empowered, not weak. Your body is your fortress, and you are the commander of that fortress. When you know the risks, you're stronger. It's like having a map of a minefield. You're still on the field, but you know exactly where not to step. Tommy always says that the best defense is a sharp mind. Question everything that feels off. Don't worry about being rude or paranoid when it comes to your safety. People who actually want to help you will never pressure you or manipulate your emotions. I truly believe we can change the outcome by spreading this awareness. It's like a reverse virus, a virus of consciousness. If every person watching this tells just one friend about the dangers of shady medical ads, we've already won. Maybe someone out there is Googling how to make money fast, and they find this conversation instead of a recruiter's site. That's the goal. Before we wrap this up, drop a comment and tell me, have you ever seen one of those weird medical ads or heard a story about this in your area? It helps everyone else stay sharp, like we're building a shared knowledge base together. Another key thing is the role of technology. While the internet helps the bad guys find victims, it also gives us the tools to expose them. There are databases, investigative reports, and platforms where people share their experiences. Use them. If someone offers you a job or a procedure, check the company name, the doctor's credentials, the reviews. If they don't exist in the official records, it's an automatic no. Your brain is your best ally. It can work for you if you give it the right data. It's not an obstacle. It's your internal guide saying, hey Tom, something's not right here. Let's turn around. When we talk about freedom money, we usually mean the cash that lets you quit a bad job. But in this context, it's the power to say no to a deadly gamble. Financial literacy and personal safety go hand in hand. When you have even a tiny safety net, You're less likely to take desperate risks. You feel more confident, and you're harder to manipulate. It's a positive cycle. Knowledge leads to security, and security lets you gain more knowledge. You aren't the victim on the table anymore. You're the master of your own path. I know this topic is heavy. It sits on your chest and makes you look over your shoulder. But look at it this way. You are armed now. You know the price tags, the tactics, and the psychology of the people who run these trades. You know that even in the darkest corners, there's the light of information. Your future self is going to thank you for taking the time to understand this. It's a small win every single day. Every insight you gain today makes you less of a target. We're all learning and growing together, and that feeling of community is what gives us the strength to keep going, regardless of the horror stories out there. As we finish up this talk, I want you to remember one thing. Your life is priceless. Not very expensive, but literally without a price tag in any currency on earth. No amount of grand is worth a single inch of your health if it's taken by force or lies. Be brave, be smart, and always listen to that gut feeling. It rarely misses when it comes to survival. I'm really glad I could share this with you, and I genuinely believe in your ability to make the right calls. I'll see you in the next one where we'll keep breaking down the world's biggest mysteries and making sure we all come out on top. Take care of yourself, because you are the most valuable thing you have. Remember, we're in this together, and as long as we support each other, those black markets don't stand a chance. Catch you later.